Okay, there really was a secret meeting of world champions. I was there. I met with these guys, and we talked about what it takes to be unreasonably successful. 3 things: arrogance, humility, perseverance. My resume is impressive. 4 degrees, founded multiple companies, 4 amazing daughters, won a gold medal at the World Championships, published articles in academic journals, and wrote a book on martial arts. My coach says it's not bragging if you can back it up. But day to day, it's Thursday. It's trying to get an AI application to work, convincing my grandchild she will not learn to swim by diving into the deep end of the pool, because arrogance can be taken too far. I'm grateful to TEDx for forcing me to reflect, and to my daughter Rhonda, who convinced me not to give my original talk, which was how to be better, because everyone can be better. Exactly, she said, everyone can be better, and thousands of people could give that talk. Tell people what it takes to be the best. It takes an odd combination of arrogance and humility, because whether it's getting a PhD, founding a startup, becoming an elite athlete, it's going to be a long road with a lot of late nights and heartbreaking failures along the way. And there will be people, some of whom mean well, telling you that this is a crazy idea. When our team had a sports psychologist come talk to us, she asked everybody to give their goal. And everyone else said things like, well, I don't want to win necessarily, but make my coach proud or show good technique. When it got to my turn, I said, I want to be best on the planet on November 11th. And one of my teammates yelled out, she's so conceited. What makes you think you can win when nobody else has ever done it? And I said, somebody's got to be first. Why not me? And on the one hand, that is logical. And on the other hand, it's insane. I'm going to be best on the planet while working a full-time job as an engineer, single parent to a toddler, in judo, of all things, where the US has no national training center or real support for athletes. And oh, by the way, I can't do half the techniques because my knee is injured so badly that if the Olympic Committee knew, I would not be medically cleared to compete. Where does that level of arrogance come from? Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. I said, winning is a habit. I was fortunate that my mother had no money. She couldn't send me to Europe to compete in tournaments for the experience, so I won every local tournament. I was the toughest 14-year-old green belt around. And when I got good enough to win state, they funded me to the nationals. And I got a bronze medal. I lost 1 match my first time out, and I am still mad. And when I started winning the nationals, I got sent to compete internationally. Only once did I come home to the US empty-handed. I got 5th at the Tornado Olympics, and I am still mad about that too. And that's not to say I never lost, as the bronze medal and the 5th place can tell you, but I expected to win. When my daughter made her first world team, I told her, remember when you go out there, no one has the right to beat you. That same arrogance, or maybe it's insanity, led me to found an educational game company when I was 55 years old. Now, if you think of a tech founder, probably somebody's grandma is not the first thing that comes to mind. And venture capitalists couldn't imagine it either. And when they wouldn't fund us, I went and raised millions of dollars in federal research grants and customized contracts and Kickstarter. Where humility comes in is at the same time believing that you can build a company that changes an industry, you also have to admit that there's a lot you need to learn. The USA Judo Director of Development told me he watched every match of mine that he could find on tape. And he said, I saw you win a lot, and I saw you lose, but I never saw you lose the same way twice. And that's true, because I hated losing so much that anytime I did, I watched those tapes over and over and over, trying to figure out what I did wrong. And if you think everybody does that, if I had $1 for every excuse I heard the referee cheated me or whatever, I would be doing this talk, reclining on my pile of money that filled this entire room. And I would say one of the stupidest mistakes I made in my professional career was not immediately taking that ability, that humility, to learn from every mistake and applying it in business. I do learn, but sometimes slowly. You need humility, whether it's business or sports or scientific research, for 2 reasons. 1, you need to admit you failed, and 2, you need to change. And neither part of that is easy. My company, 7th Generation Games, has pivoted 3 times, from selling to consumers, to selling to schools, to customized development, to now building the AI integrated game development platform. Going to our investors and saying, we're not making enough money in this market, so we've decided to make less money next year while we retool and build a new product, is not one of my happier memories. Probably not for investors either. But if you can't admit you failed, you can't figure out how to fix it. You need to admit you don't know everything. Dr. Watson of Double Helix fame said, never be the smartest person in the room. When I look at people who got really, really good, but not the best, what often happened is they hit a plateau where they thought no one could teach them anything. I must know what I'm doing. I'm an Olympian. And then there's Bob. Bob will learn from you. Bob raised $2 million. Bob's an elite athlete. Bob's amazing. And if you show you are sufficiently grateful to be working with him, he will listen to you. You need to rearrange your schedule for Bob's convenience, because Bob, did I mention he's amazing? And if you don't, then you're a jerk. The problem with you Bobs out there is that the coaches and mentors and employees you need may not be particularly grateful to work for you, because they might be the smartest person in the room. Maybe they're not a jerk. Maybe they can't meet with you because they are so good, they have other demands on their time. But you know what? Even if they are, if you invent a better programming language or a better armbar, I want to learn it from you. You can go out and tell everybody in the world, AnnMaria has a gold medal and founded multiple companies, but she needed me to teach her this. Go for it. But you also need perseverance. I have given this talk to athletes 100 times at least. If you're not training every day, someone out there, someone is, and maybe not today, and maybe not next month, but they will beat you. But you need to persevere at the right things. My statistics textbook, in my spare time, I don't have. I teach biostatistics and epidemiology. I know I'm an outlier as a judo champion, but there's a picture of 10 arrows missing the target, and it says, consistency is only a virtue if you're not a screw-up. That's where admitting you still have a lot to learn comes in. Now, it would be great if you could train with Olympians every day. It would be great if your company had all the money you need and all the employees you need and all those 10x developers. It would also be nice if a unicorn ran down a rainbow and delivered cupcakes with your morning coffee. On my planet Earth, it does not work like that. Some days you have to do drills with the 40-year-old accountant who showed up after work and is kind enough to take falls for you. Some days you did your business taxes all day, and it's 9 p.m., and you were reading a paper on large language models while holding a sleeping 3-month-old. The people who don't quite make it are the ones who only put out 100% effort on those days when all the conditions are good. They got the right training partners, and they got enough investment funds. What about talent? Let me tell you something. At the World Championships, everybody's got talent. No one is out of shape. If you think about it for half a second, probably someone you've met who is a talented failure comes to mind. Talent is a necessary but not sufficient condition for success. And then there's luck. It does matter. If I'd been born in another time or in another country where women don't have the opportunity to compete or get an education, I would not be in front of you right now. What you need is the humility to realize that the world is full of people who worked as hard as you, sacrificed as much as you, are as talented as you, and because of an injury or being born in a country with limited access to venture capital or 1,000 other bad breaks, they didn't make it. You need honesty to face up the possibility that could be you. And the courage, or maybe it's arrogance, to persevere in taking your shot every single day regardless. Once you have pulled that package together, you need to figure out how to use it to make the world a better place. Once I started winning everything in sight, my grandmother said to me, every talent you have is a gift from God. And the only thing you can do is show it wasn't a mistake to give it to you instead of the kid next door. Being best is a waste of talent if the only person it benefits is you. That's all I know about anything.